Call this meeting of the Oxford Historic Preservation Commission to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I would like to make one change to that before we approve it, and that is to reposition case number 843 from number 8 to number 6, which would make it the first item on the public hearing agenda. With that change in mind, is there a motion that we approve the agenda?
Also moved.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Next item is the approval of the minutes from our September 15 meeting. We've received those minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes as presented? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes from September the 15th?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Do we have a staff report today?
Yes, two things. First, thank you everyone for being here during Square Jam, and sorry about that, about the parking situation. And second, I wanted to introduce our new zoning inspector, Andy. He's going to be doing several different tasks related to our department, including staking verification, sign after installation inspections, that kind of thing. And it's his third week, so we're happy to have him. So if you see him around,
Welcome.
that's what it is.
Welcome.
Or if there's an issue or something that you want him to inspect, just let us know. He can go and take it. Yep.
Good, thanks.
That's it for staff.
Any questions about administrative approval that we have seen the case? Moving on to public hearings, and we are going to begin with case 843, COA requested by George Haymans for changes to previously approved COA located at 906 Van Buren Avenue. This is the case that I think most all of us did a site visit last week to hear and see what the proposed COA revision would be. Kate, you want to give us some details?
Yeah, so 906 Van Buren Avenue, this is an ongoing restoration project, as Jack mentioned. The majority of commissioners visited the site to view the project on October 14th, last week. The existing rear addition is a porch infill, and upon removal of the siding, the applicant's team found that the existing wall structure was not sufficient to support the addition and roof. As we discussed at the site visit, this is the first time that we're really using our updated code regarding the demolition procedure. And so when George began speaking with the building department about removal of this rear addition, that sort of kicked in the partial demolition procedure that's now part of our ordinance. That no more than 30% of an individual facade or 40% of a building as a whole may be permanently or temporarily removed without triggering demolition procedures. So while the design guidelines do note that significant existing additions should be preserved, the existing rear addition does not retain architectural significance in its own right. The applicant plans to rebuild the addition in the same footprint as existing with new cypress siding in the same profile, dimension, and reveal as the rest of the house. Cypress siding was already specified for this area of the building in the previous COA approval, and engineered drawings were provided by the applicant, which is a requirement of the demolition ordinance, and included with your staff report. The second item for this COA request is to install a new front stair. I included a photo in your report, but there was an existing concrete ramp that had been kind of piecemealed on the front onto the porch. And that was demolished as part of the foundation work that's underway, and the applicant plans to install a wood stair. And I provided an example from George that I believe you brought to the commissioners. Staff is supportive of both the removal and rebuild of the rear addition and the proposed installation of a wood stair. So we're supportive of the COA. Would you like to say anything?
Just one minor. Thank you guys for coming last week individually and checking out the site.
George, please introduce yourself.
Yep. George Haymans. I'm representative of the owner. So thank you guys for coming last week and taking a look at the site. I think we've done a good job with what we had. The structural supports underneath look great. Hopefully we'll be there another 140 years with what we've done underneath the foundation and underneath the building. The thing I wanted to add is on the side door. I mentioned it to a couple of you guys, but in order to line it up with the house, we moved it about 16 inches where we were repairing the rotten. See all the rot around the windows. The same thing was there, like that was there at the threshold of the door. So we had to do some repair work there. And when we did that, we moved the door over to kind of line up. So if you look at it, it's about 16 inches farther south. So just, since we're doing it all, I wanted to bring that up. And then I added, I think you guys have the pictures of the porch. I was going to go back with brick steps. And when this all came up 3 weeks ago, I started looking at the National Park Service guidelines. And then Kate mentioned it as well. And so at the site visit, we decided it would be more historically appropriate to do wood steps, even though there was some evidence of some brick stairwells, sidewalls, and brick steps. But the thing had been added on to so many times with attempts to make it handicap accessible that it just didn't function. So we're going to go back with steps exactly like the ones I presented, the width of the opening between the corner of the house and the first column. So I think that's right about 7.5 feet.
George, one other thing, I just remembered you sent me a photo of a window that you guys uncovered.
Oh yeah, so
Can you look at the picture?
that thing that we tore down that was unbelievable that it was still standing. It was a screen porch, and the railing was used as the lower plate for additional framing, and they were about 1.5 inches from touching the bottom of the floor, so they were just hanging in the air. And when you got on the roof, you knew instantly something was wrong with the exterior wall. So when we took all that off, we found the siding of the original structure, which is painted green. We salvaged it. We're going to try to repaint it and reuse it. But we found the original windows that were there before they added the screen porch. So we're going to eat the windows from Elliott and add those back, just so they'll all have a consistent look. And I sent you the video of the.
Yeah, I kind of put a video of
Yeah.
the packet, yeah.
We tried to find the window weights, and the pulleys and the ropes were gone, but we've got a little bit of time on this, so we're going to try to restore that system. I'd like to have some functioning windows. Most all of them are painted shut. We did reset them all so that at least they're square and could potentially be open in the future. Anything else? Feel like
No,
there's-
just retention of the original windows is the best match with the guidelines, so.
Yeah. We've got a good consultant with the Park Service and got some.
George,
good
we appreciate your diligence in the way you're doing this, and you're having to work with us, or you're getting to work with us, and Archives and History and U.S. Park Service. So it appears from our perspective that you're doing a good job with all that. So the two issues that we're considering is the demolition and rebuilding of the back portion of the house and the change from brick steps on the front to wooden steps. Does any commissioner, and I asked him about the shutters when I was there. They will be appropriate size, and I believe cypress.
Mm-hmm. Cypress, I think they're in the original approval. If not, Kate and I discussed it, so we've got a custom cypress shutter that would function on hinges.
Cover the windows.
They could be completely closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was voted on with the original approval.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. But they will be the correct size.
Does any commissioner have any questions of Mr. Haymans or comments about these two items that we're voting on? If not, is there a motion to approve these two items, the demolition and rebuilding of the rear portion of the building and the change to wooden steps in the front?
And I'll second.
We have a motion over here and a second over here. Any other comments or questions? If not, all in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
I just want to make one comment. I think at the last meeting, you mentioned that might have been the first time that you've ever sailed through an approval. 3 in a row. 3 in a row. So I just want the record to reflect.
Next case is number 835, COA requested by Joel Lyons for new construction located at 102 Kennedy Cove, and Virginia is recusing herself from this consideration. Kate, you want to bring us up to speed on what we're seeing, please?
Yes. So I provided you an update to your previous staff report from when this was considered in August, just showing what has been changed since that prior hearing. 2 options were considered at that hearing that were slightly different, and the applicant's presenting one option tonight. The changes to the proposed plans are exterior and do not affect the proposed footprint or floor plan. The changes include the extension of the front porch across the primary elevation on the lower level, a reduction in the glazing on the front elevation on the second floor above the front entry, the addition of windowsills, a change in color, and the proposed siding, and then the removal. One of the options had shutters in the previous hearing, and that's not proposed here tonight. We didn't offer any updated analysis, as the design was fairly similar to the previous proposal. The commission will need to discern if the ways in which the proposed home does comply with the specific elements of the design guidelines are sufficient to render it compatible with the neighborhood, and if the design will contribute to the character of the area. There's nothing in the design guidelines that disallow the use of any particular design or style for a new home, only that it contributes to the character of the historic district. And then we have the breakdown of the specific elements in your report that I'm not going to go fully through since we did it at the last hearing. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have about that. I was not at the prior hearings, obviously, but I've watched them. And the applicant is here as well. Do you want to speak?
Sure.
Can we zoom in on this image, please?
Where at?
Pardon?
Zoom in where?
Yeah, it was hard for me to really understand exactly what I was seeing in the front door and the window or windows. Yeah, that helps. So, the door, in another of your renderings, appears to be the same structure as the window. Is that?
Previously, yeah, they were all connected.
I mean, the same sort of grid configuration. There's another rendering in our packet. I just couldn't.
I think
It's
there's just
a
2 renderings.
well, yeah, that one kind of shows it.
That's just down off Jackson. I mean, it's the same rendering. I think it was Judy asked for a rendering down from Jackson up to the
A
road.
view from the street. Yeah, I guess my question was the door to, is it the same configuration as the windows? I don't
Yeah,
know
it's the
how
same
grid
product.
works.
It'll be aluminum clad window and windows and doors.
It's a.
So it's all
Yeah,
consistent.
no, this is what I was looking at earlier. Is that entire piece a door?
To the left, that is a door. That's like a little seating area off the kitchen. And we're trying to keep this symmetry. So that's why we changed that to door.
Okay, that was my question. I just couldn't decide if that
Because
was
it
a door.
extended a roof across the front for a expanded, front porch.
Okay. Well, you've answered that question. Do you have comments you'd like to make about your changes that we're seeing today?
I mean, the main thing was to tone down the glass as recommended, in more symmetry, and I feel like that's what we've done. If you look at the, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the same size windows, 2 doors that are very, the same. And so based on previous meetings and comments, it's just too much glass on the front. And so that's why we have made these modifications and, greatly reduced the amount of glass.
Okay. Commissioners?
So can we look at the artist rendering of your final iteration of that design, please? I guess we were looking at.
Let's zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. They don't say.
Now, I will say, this rendering, I wish I'd never had this done, but it makes the glass look sharp. If you expand back out and look at the 2 houses on either side, it doesn't jump out as much as what this rendering depicts.
Just looks
The changes,
reflective.
Yeah, it's like the sun's hitting it, and it's,
Kate went through this, but just to say it slower and
Sorry.
for the rest of us, the changes that you have made since we last saw you, extension of the front porch, or at least extension of the roof over the front porch. Is that correct?
well, the front porch did get
Yeah.
bigger too.
Reduction of the glazing. You've made the windows a couple of the windows some smaller. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, they're not, there's probably 3 different window sizes, the doubles, the single, and then, of course, the front doors.
You've added windowsills, I see.
Yes.
Changed the color of the siding. I think it was darker before, now it's lighter. On the appendages off either
Yes,
side
sir.
of the house. And you removed shutters that I think appeared last time somewhere.
The purpose for the color change is, I went around the neighborhood, and most of them are more along this line than the non-painted brick with the, hunter green, if you will. That, I really didn't see any of that other than like on shutters or front doors, the hunter green, and so that's why we made the change.
Mr. Lyons has been here a number of times to show us variations.
Can we go back to like one of the first versions of the house? Yeah.
The scale has definitely improved, I think. And the color is compatible with, I live across the street.
Yeah, I know, yeah, you live across the
I
street.
guess I should have recused myself, but the color does blend in well with the street. It's okay.
My main comment is changes were made, I don't know if the changes were enough to make the house different, and I'm having a hard time, I guess, trying to decide what is compatible with the neighborhood. And
Can we
does it
see,
or does it contribute to the character of the neighborhood? And that is,
yeah.
it's hard to say that it does.
I have the same issue. You know, something from the guidelines, does the house contribute to the character of the historic district? I can't get there. Can we see the picture of the several houses together taken from the street?
I want to say that I know it has a contemporary feel, but then I'm going back to something that Kate has put in the last sentence, which, you know, is the control, do we have control over new construction? And the only response to that would be, does it fit, is it compatible? But it's not really. The hip roof is there. I mean, there are elements that are there that kind of throw to a traditional, and it is new construction, but it's in the historic district, and it does send a flare of contemporary. So where do you line up? Where do you go? Do you say with new construction, we can approve it as long as it's this, and this, and fits in the historic? Is that where we're going with this? Because it's new construction. I'm just curious. It does have elements of a traditional view, but dominant with the hip roof. So I'm just kind of curious.
I know you've made changes. For me, they're so subtle that I hardly recognize them. For me, it's the size of the windows in conjunction with the fact that they are encased in black metal.
They're not going to be black metal. That's what I'm saying. Like this rendering, it
What will
really
it be?
makes the windows jump out. I mean, this is like an old Chicago brick, which would probably be a light tan or a bronze window frame. It's not steel. It's not and that's what this rendering kind of depicts, the fancy rendering. But it would be aluminum clad windows, a light tan, or like I said, a dark bronze.
Can the Secretary of Interior guidelines help us out here?
I mean, even our own guidelines recommend aluminum clad for new construction. So I think everyone's picturing like the window system at like the Flamingo, when really you see aluminum clad on. That doesn't change the amount of window, but I do think that profile-wise and materiality-wise, you see a lot of aluminum clad and a lot of new construction. Now, is it black or white? Is it a lot of glazing or not a lot of glazing? That may be more of a concern, but I don't have an issue with material.
Sure.
And I would assume that the profile is going to be similar to in thickness to what you would see.
I mean, it's whatever the house has, you know, newer construction. I mean, this does depict what looks like a steel door and window, and it's not that.
It just looks like that.
This is the CAD, correct?
Have you got any illustrations of the window, the very window you are proposing?
I mean, I do, yes, sir.
Joel, in your addition onto the shop house, were those aluminum clad? I thought so.
I mean, I don't have any pictures like with me today, but I mean, I don't know if it's capable of getting on my website and we can look at some pictures, but.
We can try.
machinerydevelopment.com.
Well, I think this is an important piece, but it's, as I said a moment ago, it's the size of all those windows, and how they're encased that I have a problem with.
The last artist rendering of it seems the most, it's closest to what we asked for, I think. All of the windows are big. And it is kind of straighten this out. Color of the windows and all that.
The one that was just that. I don't know if it's the one that was just that. Yeah.
Across the bottom there's current projects.
Is that we just saw, well, Tom's. Do any other commissioners have thoughts about
I'm glad to know about the difference in the color rendering of the window type thing. That was sticking out to me, so I'm glad it's gonna be lighter and it's not gonna be metal and so thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, ma'am.
Will the widths of the mullions be uniform around each pane?
Oh, yes, yes, sir. It'll have the same divided light window pattern.
Because that's not what we're seeing here. I mean, some of those are darker than others.
Oh, you
Yeah.
like the sills?
Yes.
Yeah, those will be the Old Chicago brick sills. So they'll all be the same.
Well, as long
the
as,
grid
as
pattern-
long as we're into windows, if every one of those mullions was the same width,
They will be.
it would
Yes,
look
sir.
much more traditional to me than what we're looking at here that you have presented to us. Those look very, very contemporary.
So what window grid pattern would you prefer to see?
I think what Jack's saying is like, it looks like in this rendering in the center, which I understand in some places that's where the doors meet, but the line thickness is not the same.
It's not.
Yeah.
It is not. I wish I,
But in real life, it will be. the same.
correct. They'll be, the windows and doors will be purchased from the same manufacturer, and they match in seals and jambs and all that.
He's saying like, let's say you have a 6-light window, and like, or let's say you have a 12-light door. Like the width of the muntin on all of that is going to be the same. You're not going to have some lighter, right? Is that what you're asking?
Well, those transoms, upstairs windows and those transoms over 4-light windows,
Yes, sir.
a pair of,
Yes, sir.
that's what you're seeing, it's a transom, so that is a traditional window. Door, it's kind of weird because it's, go back to it, which is on the far left, correct?
Well,
Pair of
that's-
doors, it's got 4 lights in the middle of it, 2 on the bottom, maybe a transom on top or not, I don't know if that's.
I didn't even read that as a transom. I thought
It would be
was-
the window, the top part would be the transom across all windows and doors. And no, the pattern of the doors and windows would not have that thicker black
That bottom.
bottom.
Well, it
No,
looks like it has-
it would not be there.
It has the transom on the top with, at the top and the bottom.
But the transom would not be on the bottom.
But there is one
But
here.
there is one.
I know, I'm saying that's not a true representation of the window. This is CAD software that dropped it in there.
Because I think what Joel's getting at, maybe, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, is like if you have a transom above a 4-light window, that's recalling things that we see in the historic district.
Right.
We're just, that's like similar, maybe it's a cue of something that we see in the historic district.
Sure.
But we're just not seeing that.
And that line's
this-
gonna be thicker.
and
It's
this
not sharp,
drawing.
it's gonna be thicker, because it's transients differentiate between the two. Now, the one on the bottom is just,
Yeah,
is your cap.
Correct.
I get it.
And I'm not opposed to getting a quote on the windows,
and
which
this-
come with, renderings, not this type of rendering, but, that shows each one, each opening. And submit it to Kate, and we can work together to make sure everything lines up and is consistent to, the historical guidelines.
Yeah. Yeah, I might want to, I'm not sure if I'm clear enough on the commission's views to fully staff approve the window schedule, but we can bring the window schedule back.
Okay.
And that's not an uncommon practice for this commission to
Yeah.
approve things.
You know,
contingent
looking
upon-
at this rendering, if I was satisfied that the windows would be of a traditional configuration, I would be more inclined. But with that, I just think it's out of character for this neighborhood. But everybody's got an opinion, and perhaps it's time for us to vote, so we'll know.
I think he's missing the stiles and rails on the doors and windows. Also, there's nothing there. Is that or is that not what you're proposing?
It's not gonna, this is not,
But, I mean, they'd have a traditional, even if it was a narrow style and a traditional rail at the bottom and a rail at the top, a rail in between the transom and the doors, which doesn't show here, which makes it look super modern. And no, there's a disconnect here, I think, on that, simply because of the software.
Yes,
I think they'd like to get straightened out in their mind.
Yeah, I think what we're saying is, you see it in your mind, we can't see it here. I think that's what
What you're showing us now, for me, looks very contemporary and exacerbates my problem with the size of the windows. So,
What you're also saying, and what I'm thinking is, the windows would be affixed to make it look less contemporary if we could see more realistic windows, but that may not be everything that needs to be done for it to contribute to the character of the neighborhood.
yes. Yes, I mean, it's a part of the question.
trying to find some pictures of the windows.
Shall we, would you prefer us to vote it up or down as presented now, or would you like to table once again and come back with more exacting examples of your windows?
I would like you to consider your vote as a condition that I would provide window elevations and images that would get you more comfortable with the look. Because again, I've said it multiple times, this is
Yeah,
not
I
a
don't know
true.
that I personally would be comfortable with that because it's such a major issue. I think to prove it.
Those windows
subject
are
to
actually
windows
not, I
is,
mean, the double window is standard size. Those are 5080 doors, that's standard. A lot of times you're gonna see 6080 doors with the transom, that's much wider. I mean, if it comes to it, if you want me to change the doubles to a single, I'm fine with that.
I think it's just really hard to make that call
Yeah.
without seeing it.
And I don't think that our job really is to tell you exactly what window to put in there, but rather to react to the windows that you're
That we
presenting
see.
and telling you, and let you know what it is about them that one or any of us might not like.
Understood, but like Kate touched on earlier, the Shaw Kennedy house, the windows I put in there are aluminum clad, and these would be just like that.
It's not the cladding that I'm asking about.
Okay.
Is there a motion that we consider for the COA as presented? There is no motion. Is there a motion that we reject the COA as presented?
I think I have a problem with that. I really feel like we need to work with you more, and I think it would be to your advantage to show us the concerns rather than to walk away with the reject. I think it would be better for you if you said, you know what, I know that you are looking for this and this and this, and I'll be happy to bring it back, rather than to try and come back after something has been rejected.
Mr. Lons, for me, it really comes down to this line directly out of the guidelines. Does the house contribute to the character of the historic district? And as it's presented right now, to me, it does not contribute to the historic character of this district.
Is that mainly because of the windows?
Yes.
Okay.
The size,
They look like modern.
yeah,
This
the
rendering.
size and the configuration just, to me, does not contribute in a positive way to this historic district.
Well,
You know,
I think
it's a nice looking house. I appreciate the design, but for me, I don't think it adds to the historic.
For me, it's like that bump out on the right-hand side is another part that adds to it not contributing.
what about the bump out? Doesn't contribute.
It makes it like, doesn't make it look like, it looks like I don't know what it looks like, but it doesn't look like it's in the historical district.
I mean, I switched to double windows, changed the interiors based on previous comments on that right side. I mean, I want to know what doesn't look contributing on that area.
If you had 2 stories on that side and you had like a gable that would go up to the 2nd story.
You know, we're also working with a specific difficult lot and setbacks and topo. I mean,
It does kind of look like it.
So do you feel like if we did table this again, and I really do appreciate your patience and time working with us, but it is our responsibility to try and keep things as close to the guidelines as possible. And I appreciate that you have come back again and again, but I feel like if you could come back with some drawings and examples of windows. It's like I told you a few minutes ago, things are in your head, but we need a visual. We need to see it. And I feel like that, that if it did get tabled, it would be asking for these specific things for you to come back with.
Okay, I'm fine with that. That's what I'll do.
Let me say that there was not a motion, so that should give you some indication of the consensus on the commission. You have indeed spent a lot of time, I know, coming to this commission 3 or 4 times. But in all candor, I would have to tell you that each time you come back, the changes that you have made and presented are so subtle that I don't see a strong response from you to sort of move in the direction that we're asking. And I know that you've shown us different variation of windows, sizes and shapes and so forth, but the conversation keeps going back to your windows that are not satisfactory. So I think if you could come back to us with something that we recognize as
Let's give them examples of what we were looking for.
yeah,
So
responsive to what we're attempting to communicate with you, it would be good.
would be specifically the window sizes, drawings that replicate what it will look like. You know, let's be specific on what we're asking. Because out of respect to him, I think we should. We can't just say, if you agree to have it tabled, come back to us, and we go, no. I think we need to direct him as to what people are looking for on this commission. And then that way, I think everybody will win in the end.
It certainly help us administer and work with the.
I think the clear image, I mean, this is the first time I've understood that those are transoms. Does that make sense? Like, I understood they were gonna be a little bit flat.
Well, at times, they haven't been transom.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
we've changed multiple iterations of the windows.
And that's an effort that you made to be congruent with the historic district.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yeah.
And, you know, in the color scheme
Yeah.
was part of that, adding the front porch, making it bigger, you know, because originally we didn't have the roof and the traditional front porch, but we've gone back and changed that. I hear what y'all are saying about the windows. It is greatly reduced. I mean, if you put them side by side, it's a lot less windows. Like the doubles are standard size. I mean, those are they're probably not even 6.0s. They're probably more 5.0 windows, which is,
I think if you'll come back here with renderings that properly show stiles, rails, divisions, transoms, not transoms, doors, windows, you're gonna see a marked difference in everyone's attitude.
okay. that's
And
what
the
I'll do.
color,
And what?
Sorry?
and the color too. It's gonna make a difference.
Yeah, the color of the
Color of the window frame.
of the metal parts of the windows.
Yes, sir. No, I understand.
I mean, I know that there are a lot of traditional houses that have large windows, so it's not just the size. I think it's a combination of size and a definition of the framing of the windows and all those details.
So if they're metal clad, and he brings that back drawn exactly as they're gonna be, they're gonna look like wood to you. You're not gonna know the difference between them and wood.
Exactly.
That's not what you're seeing right there, and it's throwing everybody just way off, and it keeps coming back every time, and everybody's kind of taken aback by that. I think that's the key to it.
Yeah, if he's gonna use the same type of window that's on the addition to his existing house, take a picture. Take a picture, obviously it needs to be represented on the elevation, but then, you know, we have had plenty of requests that have provided precedent imagery of exactly the type and style of the window that's there to help fill in that gap.
I mean, I'm using a very similar window as the new build that's going up on the left side or right side of my house. I mean,
Well-
same
Yeah, I think if you could come back and
Yes,
show
sir. I
us, show us that on the structure that you're proposing with all the details that I think we're asking for, to identify it as a more traditional window. That-
Yes, sir.
That would be very.
No, I
helpful.
understand what's needed. I think we're advanced at this point, and so I understand that we need to address the windows.
Clarify, that's window and door.
Yes. Every glazed thing on the front of the house, side of the house.
And your point about the trim too, of the window,
Well, the
Yeah.
actual, this is kind of represented like there's nothing there. Like they are metal, that's the only way they could work.
Well, that's right. There's no definition
What he's saying
on-
is that's not what I've done, but he needs to show us that.
Like the casing.
Yeah, like where the siding, obviously that's gonna be trimmed out,
Yeah.
picture framed. I need to show that. That rendering doesn't show that.
And I think that would make a radical difference to the appearance of the front of the house. But we would ask that you come back with that, and we would ask that you go for a tabling once again of this COA.
I'm okay with that.
Is there a motion that we table the
So
the
moved.
COA? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Next case, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good, we're just getting Virginia.
Next case is number 842, COA requested by Anna Bushkirk for exterior modifications to existing structure located at 1515 Pierce Avenue.
Okay, 1515 Pierce Avenue features a contributing residential structure located on a .19 acre lot in the South Lamar Historic District. The building is described in the Historic Resources Inventory Survey as a one-story, three-bay frame, double-pile cottage with craftsman influence built circa 1940. Exterior walls are covered with asbestos siding. Windows are 6/6 double-hung sashes, some in pairs, with a one-bay gable roof porch supported by box piers and a side shed roof carport added circa 1960. So I broke down the portions of the request for you with recommendations from the design guidelines in your report, and I'll just take you quickly through those now. The proposed front addition, applicant seeks to add a new front gable and to bump out the front of the building for a larger living room space. This is in conflict with the recommendation of the design guidelines to preserve the original location and configuration of entrances and porches. Additionally, the guidelines recommend that new additions should be attached to the rear or side elevations with minimal visibility from the street. Regarding removal of the existing carport to build a new side and rear addition, the proposed side and rear addition includes the infill of an existing porch and a portion of the existing carport. New siding will match the existing wavy asbestos siding in profile, dimension, and reveal. This portion of the proposal meets the recommendation of the guidelines that additions should be located to the non-character defining elevations at the rear of the building. The addition is designed appropriately to be limited in size and scale in relationship to the historic building. Regarding changes to the existing window and door openings and to replace all windows, changes to the existing openings are proposed on all four elevations. The front and the rear elevations due to the proposed new additions. And then the east elevation shows that a window located towards the back of the building will be removed. And the west elevation shows the removal of two windows and the installation of a new side door and stair. The design guidelines recommend to retain existing window openings to avoid alterations that change their size, location, or proportion, and to add new window openings on rear or other secondary, less visible elevations if required by a new use. The proposed replacement of historic windows is not consistent with the design guidelines. The guidelines direct that every effort should be made to preserve existing historic windows and to repair and restore them rather than replace them. conditions such as peeling paint, broken glass, or air infiltration do not justify replacement, as these issues can be addressed through maintenance and repair. I will note we included several photos of the windows that were provided after I wrote this report with your packet, and it does appear that there are several different window configurations and types, and especially those that are located like in the carport area, they do appear to be maybe not original to the building in a way that some of the front windows do appear to be. So I think that there could be some latitude there. So anyway, we included those photos with the report. So the staff recommendation, we believe that the plans will need to be reworked in order to meet the design guidelines. The proposed rear addition and the use of in-kind siding and materials is acceptable and does meet the design guidelines. So staff would recommend approval of that side and rear addition that they're proposing, including the revised window placement on the rear. Staff recommends denial of the request to add on to the front of the building. And staff also recommends that the front window and door openings remain in place and unchanged in dimension. The commission must consider the proposed changes to the window openings on the side, which is the east and the west elevation, so both sides of the building. The guidelines do offer some flexibility on non-primary facades, and the commission may choose to approve the proposed changes on those elevations due to the changes to the floor plan as a part of the renovation of the building. Staff recommends retention and restoration of existing wood windows according to the recommendations of the guidelines. So the applicant is here, as well as Emily McGee, who designed the project.
I'm Emily McGee.
I'm sorry.
I'm Emily McGee. This is Pierce, like she said. What we have tried to do is make it functional and add as much square footage as we possibly can in a way that we, would uphold the look and the historical feel. The lot, it's a tale of a really hard lot. The topography on the back it goes straight downhill. It's going to be not very feasible at all to add on to in the back. That's what we wanted to do originally. The side, as it's labeled traditional neighborhood business zoning, we were thinking we could add into the carport area. We can't add up into it very much at all. We have to allow for 2 parking spaces. So that limited a lot, which is why we were trying to come up with a way to come forward. Just 3 feet and add a little sitting area so that she could have a second eating situation besides at the island. We've gotten it to almost 1,200 square feet by just moving the back deck area and enclosing that. It was way lower elevation. We were going to raise it up and try to make everything match. The siding, the windows, we do request that we replace them for safety, and just overall they're in bad shape. The back ones are they don't match the front. As the existing, we would try to match everything as much as possible to what's existing. We're just kind of limited in all of our aspects of everything. So we were trying to just bump it forward a little bit and keep it. The neighboring house has a bump forward as well. It is a hip roof portion, but we have space in the front, just not a lot of it, which is why we didn't come forward with the whole thing because of that. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I assume you've read the staff reaction. Did you have an opportunity to deal with the staff before the plans were drawn?
Yes, before they were drawn.
Well, particularly the front of the house.
Well,
we can't.
We met last week. There were some conflicts and such, but yes, we did. We didn't discuss the front elevation. We discussed the minimal availability of addition to the side or the back. So,
So I think we can maybe divide all this into 3 major kind of components: the front of the house,
right,
and then which is a addition on the front of the house, and then the side and the back additions, and then the windows.
Right.
Three different things I
Right.
think that we're to consider. So let me open the floor for comments about any or all of those three issues.
Maybe it'd be easier if we just went over what does fit the guidelines and then tackle maybe what doesn't.
Yeah. Well, the staff has given us a good setup on that. The additions on the side and the rear conform with guidelines. I don't know, does anybody want to question that or
No,
discuss?
I think they look good.
The additions on the side and the rear. The front is a different issue because basically by adding just on that one side, changing the gable, it completely changes the historic look of the house. I mean, you've lost the house with those changes. So that's one that staff is suggesting a hard no on. So I think.
Seems like the front, if left alone, with original windows that have been redone out of cannibalized, whatever you're gonna do out of all the others, and the other three sides of the house are kind of acceptable. You can't add a mansion on the back of it, but you
Yeah,
can do,
yeah.
I think it's a lot more flexibility there, they've shown that.
You have a site plan?
Yeah. Somewhere I was at it.
I think you sent it, let's see it in our packet. I might have missed it.
Last week. The lot does drop off significantly,
And
and
she
we've,
sent photos of the lot I can show.
yes, and they, it just becomes kind of unfeasible in order, we've had engineers look at it. Not the structure, which is kind of crumbling as well, but the lot having to retain a whole lot, a large amount, it goes into that ditch behind the bank, which is beautiful that it looks out like that, but it's just not usable as easily. Of course, anything's
Would anybody like to
within money.
share an opinion about the front of the house and what's being requested here?
Well, actually, we don't have a choice. It doesn't fit the guidelines.
Yeah, well, I think we just, if that's our sentiment, yeah.
So
So-
what, do we come back and with a new version of the front? Is that what y'all would prefer?
You could, I think you've got some options here.
Okay.
Again, in the staff response, they kind of suggest you might want to consider coming back with all of it, the whole proposal. But there are parts of it that I think we would approve.
Okay,
So I think that'd be your call. If you
Okay.
want to get an approval on the addition on the side and the back,
right,
we could do that. I don't think you're going to get an approval on the front,
That's
and I
fine.
don't think you're going to get an approval on replacing all the windows.
gotcha.
The windows, I think, we need to probably talk about all sides of the house on the windows.
Okay,
So, would you like to come back? Would you like to table
That's
this
fine.
and come
Table it
back
would be
with
better, is that what you're
a
saying?
revised things, just sort of
Revised
knowing
things.
what it appears how we're gonna react?
okay. Sounds good.
Clarify the parking thing.
Since it is a business, traditional neighborhood business zoning, I was told here that there needs to be 2 parking spots. And it cannot be in front of the property, blocking the main portion. So that limits us to the very side. So we had to, keep the portion of the carport, 18 feet of that. And then another parking spot behind it. So we weren't able to really utilize much we utilized what we could. We pulled forward some, but that was what made it more difficult to,
It wasn't the zoning, it's the
The
fact
what?
that it's actually a detached structure, a detached.
oh, I'm
house.
sorry, I
And
thought
you
you
have to
told
have-
us
you have to
downstairs
have
that it
two-
was because of the zoning.
You have to have two.
Because that's what allowed me to go to the side.
The zoning is the reason you're able to go
Right.
to the side setback.
Right, okay.
But the reason you need the two spaces is because of the
Just being
uses of
residential.
detached dwelling as residence. Yeah.
Whereas you provide
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're okay. But you're right that the reason you
Right.
build to the side property line is because of zoning.
Right. So we could do that, but then we could not go forward, so.
You might find it helpful if, and I'm not trying to say do this, but if you decide to table this now, it probably would be helpful for you to hear our comments about,
Right.
you've mentioned if you came back with another design for the front, we probably ought to give you some insight about that now, if you like.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Others.
Well, you can't change the windows,
Right, up the front, correct?
and you still need to keep it not looking like another house, not like it's lost its identity. I think you might have a little problem with that,
So-
with the space that you've got. I kind of agree that you have more flexibility in the back than you do.
I can't really imagine what you might bring to us that would change the front of the house, because it's so
Right.
small and so simple.
It is.
You perhaps will come back with something that would work, but our task is to preserve the front of the
Right.
house in the way it looks.
Gotcha.
So that would be the challenge.
It's a cute little house.
Mm-hmm.
The windows, you know, the request is to replace all windows in the house. And I don't recall if in your proposed new front of the house, if the windows are the same size.
They're the same size.
But I don't think they were the same configuration. I don't think that-
They should be, and they would be.
Yeah.
They should
Well,
be.
that would be.
Right,
that would
they are.
be-
It's, you can't see them as well from the pictures with the storm window over them, but they're the 6/6. I believe.
And what is the existing one? Is that the
That's
existing
what
ones?
that's what it is.
8/8.
They're 6/6. So they would want, you know, we want to preserve the look. It's just
Those
the-
are 6/6.
You can't tell with the, they are,
Oh, I'm sorry, you're exactly right.
with the storm window
Yeah.
over, yeah.
Windows on the front of the house would have to be the same size,
Right.
shape,
Mhm.
and we would hope and
Yeah. That's
that you would be able to repair the existing
Right.
windows. And from the photographs we saw of some of those windows, the windows look in pretty good shape.
Repairable.
I mean, they got to be reglazed and a lot of that, and maybe the casings of the windows, some of that might need to be replaced, but
Right.
the windows themselves look like they
They
could
look
be
okay.
repaired. On the east and west sides of the house, the guidelines are a little more flexible
Right.
to, if the interior
Changes a little bit,
changes,
floor
and
plan,
there's a
right.
reason for that, and in the back as
Right.
well.
Okay. Well, the back were the 90s, whatever, updated. Yeah.
Are there any
Well,
other
the-
thoughts
along
we
the
could
back, they're
share,
the one.
that we could share with Ms. McGee that would help her if she's gonna come
I
back?
do think, did, the ones in the back were not original to the house,
No.
correct? Okay. So
Is
there
there
is
any-
flexibility there, right?
Yeah, I was about to ask if there's anything further the commission would need to see regarding the front windows for if the request continues to be to replace them. Like, is there anything further? We have photos of them, but is there any more information? Or
I know, what do you do? I mean,
There's storm
figure
windows
out how
in
portion,
all the windows.
yeah, they're not along the back, I don't believe, but they're over.
Original windows, I believe. There's
Mhm,
storms.
mhm. Not, maybe not on the
They're like metal
carport.
storms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not functioning, but, you know.
Any other concerns that we might share with Ms. McGee that would help her as she fashions reconsideration? We appreciate you coming, appreciate
Thank
your
y'all.
understanding
No, I
of
appreciate it.
where we're coming from.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to seeing you again. I think we need to formally table this COA. Is there a motion to that effect?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right,
Thank you,
thank y'all,
Amy.
thank you.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to bring forward? If not, is there a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much.